let me see if I get this straight, Andrew. You're out and about today. Were you working or were you?
No, I was on my way home from work. And
okay, you clocked out,
and I'm driving down Route 40,
and you witnessed someone in a moped waving to someone on a motorcycle as if to say, "Hello, fellow two-wheeled commuter," and the motorcyclist waved back.
Okay. Now, there's a culture out there amongst the motorcycle enthusiasts, and as you're driving by, and you give them you basically take your one hand off the steering wheel. What the fuck you call it? Handlebars. And you almost point down at the ground to your left as they're coming by, like you're pointing at them, like at their front wheel, kind of as they're going by, like, "Hey, what's going on, fellow brother of the wind?" And they're supposed to kind of do it in return. And this motorcyclist, you can just see him. He sees the guy. He's got his sunglasses on, but he just does this thing. He just oh. Like, fuck are you doing? Like, dude's sitting there like he's in a church pew, both feet fucking high and tight at 12 o'clock. Like, howdy, neighbor. And just motorcycle man was not having any of it. Like, we are not the same. There's equality in the world, and there's inequality in the world. And me and you, we are not equals. Right. That thing you're on is not even rated. They won't even require you to get a fucking license plate. You kiss my Harley Davidson dick right now.
That's hilarious.
That does take a Ned Flanders level of ignorance. Look, this guy's got the same amount of axles as I do. 2 wheels.
Or an Alan Giannis level of assholeness. Because I would do that shit if I was riding around on a moped for shits and giggles.
Well, the best part for me was this guy's, I guess the moped probably only got up to 40 because he was riding in the shoulder of Route 40. And I'm just like, fuck. And I'm looking up the hill and I'm like, I'm not going to make it to the turn lane before this guy gets there.
That's the worst.
I'm going to have to settle in behind him. Son of a bitch. And then I get behind him and I saw the motorcycle coming across Jackson Station Road West, right there at the fucking train tracks. And I'm like, he's not gonna, is he? And he did. And then I was just salivating, ooh, is this motorcyclist going to actually give him the finger back? And if he gave him any finger, it wasn't the finger he's going to want. But I remember, driving around in my Jeep. It's a Jeep thing. You just wouldn't understand. You got to throw your hand up. You got to wave at every goddamn Jeep that comes by. There's just this fucking stupid culture. And I know that when I saw the 4-door Jeeps, you didn't wave to the 4-door Jeeps. They weren't the same. It was only the 2-door Stomper Jeeps that got the wave. And these fucking soccer mom Karens out there I've got a Jeep too. No, you don't. You got a family of 6, and you wanted a fucking convenient thing that you'll never take off-road that makes you look tough.
I'm glad you said that, man, because, I was jonesing on a friend because they had one of those 4-door jams, like a Renegade or something shit. You know what I mean? And I was but they were rolling around with a Jeep Club, and I'm like, what are you doing? You look out of place. This is weird. I'm not saying don't have friends and do stuff, but you're gonna get stuck and you're gonna harm your car. Just stop.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Jeep Renegades, you Renegades out there, you're not us. You aren't us. We're under the same umbrella, but you're like that step kid that we just felt sorry for, and we didn't want you to go back to foster care, so we're like, all right, fine, you can have a Jeep, I guess.
Yeah.
But
and look, I don't purport to know lots about Jeep culture. I think I don't like them. I'm not a big fan. It's just not my style.
I'm not either.
But yeah, I think it's the ducks where they give each other little duckies. Those weirdos. I don't know. It's just so fucking strange to me. But yeah, I agree with you. If you got a Renegade, you don't get to do that. I don't think.
But is it the Jeep or the standard Jeep, which you were talking about, getting waved to by someone else who's not a Jeep, but not necessarily in what you would consider the Jeep Club. What you saw today is a Suzuki Sidekick waving to someone in a Jeep. That's how the disparity of this is that.
I have 4-wheel drive too. Yeah, you sure do. Why don't you try driving that over a pound of sand and see what happens?
Take a turn at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, and I don't know much about the Jeep culture either, Alan. All I know is Two-door Jeeps wave to two-door Jeeps. That's the bottom line for me. That's the only rule I abide by. If somebody's got like a Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's like, no, you have a lot of money and we are not the same. I have a medium-priced sub-SUV vehicle that's four-wheel drive and will take me anywhere I want to go in any weather condition. That's what I'm driving a utilitarian. I should have like an extra jug of water and 5 extra gallons of gas strapped to the back of my truck. That's the kind of thing I'm driving. You are driving a luxury vehicle under the guise of I'm an outdoorsy ruffian. No, you're not. So you don't get to wave either.
That's fair.
What was the Suzuki Sidekick? What Geo made a death trap that was similar to that.
Yeah, Geo made one, and Suzuki. I think they were like basically the same fucking car.
Yeah, they kind of had
rodeo. They call it
No,
rodeo or something.
It wasn't a Rav4.
What was the Geo?
I don't know.
The Metro was the Geo. The Metro was the car, right?
Yeah.
The little hatchback joint.
We know that because Brother Dewey Love had a Geo Metro.
Okay.
And in classic Fox family fashion, it was like a nice, not like a nice seafoam green.
Well, I don't know.
They were called Geo Trackers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, death traps. You couldn't turn faster than 30 miles an hour, or else you were going to be fucking flipping that puppy 6 or 7 times. Yeah, the ratio, the weight differential was terrible in those things. And I remember saying something to my parents when I was like 10 about how cool they looked. And my dad just like, well, I'm never fucking buying you one. Nope. Not in this household.
I always thought they kind of reminded me of like, what was it? Was it at Jolly Rogers, maybe down in Ocean City, where they had the fucking like the stock trucks? You know what I'm talking about?
The go-karts.
Go-karts.
Yeah.
They always kind of reminded me of those because they're like the stock trucks are just these little squatty little fucking things, and they boogied.
Yeah.
That shit was fun. I think that's where it was. I don't know. They always reminded me of that.
Outside of like top speed, they probably had better overall performance than the tracker. You know, for better suspension, better turn ratio, better everything, better gas mileage.
Definitely.
Yeah. This actually reminds me. Now, I was thinking about this today when you brought this up, Murr. Even someone on a crotch rocket, again, I'll use Suzuki or a Yamaha or something like that, waving to someone on a hog or a chopper, if you will. Yeah. Even they're going to get like the kind of the stink eye. Like you might get someone who's like, all right, yeah, whatever. Okay, it's not a moped at least. But I saw years ago, I was watching a special, and I don't remember who produced it, who aired it, on Sturgis, kind of the ins and outs. And it was just a normal journalist, attending Sturgis for a week and just showing you kind of the party and the culture and some of the activities they did during the day. Did this one where it was like a burnout test where people just sat there for hours upon hours huffing burnt fucking rubber at point blank speeds. Point blank distances rather. But I saw they did have a handful of crotch rockets attending, and there was this one area where someone was doing kind of wheelie / BMX type tricks, but on a crotch rocket, and they got one person, a Hell's Angel looking motherfucker, to be like, yeah, it's on 2 wheels. It's cool for me. I can't imagine how many people they had to interview to get that one guy to be like, yeah, it's okay. They probably had 1,500 people be like, fuck them. I'll burn them goddamn bitches. I'll run them over with my hog. We'll burn them we'll burn them everywhere.
I do think that it's just a specific. You're right. I think within the crotch rocket community, there's 2 communities there. There's the guys who just are bike enthusiasts, and the Harley guys, the cruiser guys, they'll respect them. And then there's the fucking, I'm going to do a wheelie at 105 down 95. I don't think they respect those guys all that much. But I don't know how you differentiate between the two. I know that the cruiser crew does not like the 3-wheel with the 2 in the front, but they will accept the 3-wheel with the 2 in the back. So the trike guys are apparently a part of the community.
That kind of checks out because, the 2. You said the 2 in the back is acceptable. Right?
Yeah, 2 in the front not acceptable.
2 in the front not acceptable. I kind of wanted a 2 in the front, but I feel like they are for the brown folk. I'm not gonna lie. I lived in the city, and I've seen a lot of large black men on them.
Yeah,
okay,
of the ones in the
fucking dope.
In the ones in the city I've seen, they all are driven by African Americans, and they all are blasting some sort of some sort
our
of
neighbor,
system,
our neighbor had one when we lived down there, and fucking he had the fucking Nazi helmet, like just the thing with the fucking point.
I think I know who you're talking about too. Yeah,
The World War One, or well, I guess it's the World War One fucking
Yeah.
German helmet, but either way, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I bet that they're the same people though, because I also feel like here in Cecil County, where there's not a lot of brown in town, it's white guys that have boats and like to go hiking with their dog on the weekends. And I have a feeling that it's the same general tax bracket just in Baltimore, where it's a little more urban. I guarantee that those two guys, maybe not of, you wouldn't pick them out of a crowd differently. You know what I'm saying? They would be black man, white man, but they have the same tax bracket and the same golfing buddies and everything else. I feel like it's more of a socioeconomic thing than it is a
I would
culture.
agree with that. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because that's a toy. You know what I mean? Like that's a luxury. I would say. Like that's not it's not your commuter. You're fucking around with that thing. That's in Baltimore. That's in a shed somewhere for fucking 6 months. You know what I mean? So
This is my
agree with that.
weekend. I'm putting New Edition on Bluetooth, and I'm having some fun.
Yo, I always I used to joke with Kelly, and I was like, weather must be getting warm. I just heard fucking Belle Biv DeVoe rolling down the fucking street at level 11. It was phenomenal, dude. I loved it.
All I had rolling in my head the whole time you two were talking was like, that girl is poison.
That shit was fucking Bobby Brown, fucking all types of crazy shit.
And it's now called it's a coffee shop. It used to be called Cafe Jovial. On the mornings when or late mornings after a night of raging, when I'd come out with my iced coffee, I'd see him fucking boogieing on by, and I'd give him the coffee cup salute. I wonder if he's like, fuck this guy, doesn't have those wheels. Salute me in the coffee cup, waving at me. Like he kind of gave me the head nod.
Yeah, he was cool. He lived 2 doors down from us.
Yeah.
That guy drives a Hyundai Veloster.
Yeah, right. Speaking of, do you guys Sturgis? You're familiar with that, right? That the bike rally in Western
Fucking bumfuck.
Is it South Dakota?
Black Hills, yeah, South Dakota.
Is it Dakota? Yeah.
And do you remember WCW had this really great 2-year promotion where they put on a wrestling show right in the middle of it called Hog Wild?
I didn't know it was called Hog Wild, but I do remember them going to Sturgis every year.
Yeah. They did you imagine the marketing / promotional mind behind this? We're going to dump a ring right in the middle of tens of thousands of bikers. We're going to put a canopy over it because in case it rains, it's an outdoor thing. And we're going to have Hulk Hogan wrestle Roddy Piper, and the Giant wrestled Lex Luger, and they're going to go ape shit. And they did, but it just never really dawned on them that no one from the Hells Angels or in this. I just keep saying Hells Angels, but no one from a Hog or Chopper or Harley Davidson crew ever was really a wrestling fan. If that makes sense.
No, that doesn't make sense. What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean?
I mean, are you saying that like Harley Davidson driving red-blooded American men aren't professional wrestling fans?
I'm sure there was a few of them, but my guess is they had these guys. They were having to dub in sound for cheers for the good guys because these guys didn't know who was who, and they just were cheering for who was cool, which at the time was the bad guy.
They've also been drinking moonshine for 6 hours leading up to the show and have no fucking idea what's going on. Sitting in the fucking Black Hills of South Dakota, probably tripping their nuts off, high on cocaine and mushrooms. Meanwhile, trying to fucking get the paint thinner out of their fucking liver. Yeah, they probably just had no clue what was going on. They were all about it when they announced it, just didn't know what was going on when it happened.
Right.
And don't forget Huff and Rubber.
That too.
That's right. Yeah, a full day of the burnout station at again 4 to 20 feet. That's crazy, man. They do it it was minutes long. It take minutes to completely burn out an 18-inch back tire while you're sitting there yeah, look at that thing go. Anyway,
a couple $100.
Hog Wild. It just they only did it for 2 years, I think, and finally they're like, there's just too many.
I think they ran out of money.
That's good. Yeah. And also the other thing, do any of you guys familiar with Hunter S. Thompson, either wrote a book or was trying to write a book for like the year he spent with the Hells Angels, befriended
Yeah.
the group. There's a great, so it ended when he confronted a member about beating up his girlfriend. And then he slugged Hunter a few times, knocked him around. And I think that was kind of it. He got roughed up and left and said, fuck this. And then they talked about it on a talk show. Are you familiar with this interview?
I'm not familiar with the interview, but I'm familiar with the story. I'm pretty sure the guy hit him with a tire iron at some point too. So.
He may have busted him up with a weapon, but this is on a talk show, and it's not like a Letterman or a Leno where you have a stage, a backdrop behind you. It's kind of one of those amphitheaters where they're all around you and you're sitting, the interviewee and the interviewer and the subject are sitting front and center, and it's the host, Hunter S. Thompson, and not the guy who beat him up, but a member of that gang of the Hells Angels. And anyway,
I would say it was the Dick Cavett show, if I'm not mistaken. I
might
could
be
wrong.
right.
Yeah.
Might be right. But I found it peculiar. Go back and watch it, where the Hells Angels member is explaining, well, him and his old lady were having a verbal dispute, and every now and then you gotta put your old lady in line, and the audience laughs. And in the early 60s, you were like, wow, that was laughable. People were laughing about beating up your old lady.
I bet if you cut to the audience, there was probably some wife that was like, "Oh, right, like last night, right? Remember, I told you that the meatloaf didn't have too much salt, and you're like, fuck you, whore!" And you slam my head against the table. Remember that? It's just like us. Oh man,
Love,
so
holy
similar.
matrimony. God, man, I'm not advocating for it. Obviously, I was kind of semi-appalled. It's just like how
semi-appalled. Ooh.
hey, the show's got to go on. You can't say cut. That's not fun. That's not funny. But times have changed. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out, Alan. You should. I think he wrote a book on it. I think he wrote a book on his year befriending one particular gang that he rode around with, and kind of basically they were like, okay, yeah, if you portray an accurate, book or an accurate telling of who we are and what we represent, then you can hang out with us. And he did. He held up his end of the bargain, and I don't know why he'd been with him for a year. I don't know why at some point he got like a moral backbone to tell someone don't do that. I'm not,
Look,
get the
I'll
shit
tell
kicked
you
out of
what.
you.
I watched Sons of Anarchy. I don't know if you guys caught that documentary on FX back in the early 2000s, but it taught me that you can get your ass killed no matter how close you are to anybody in that organization. So yeah, sometimes shit happens.
Dude, we are. I think a lot of times we forget how close to savagery we really are. Like, World War I was just is technically not even considered a modern war. Like, World War II is considered the first modern war. Like, we were just literally digging fucking, 10-foot holes in the ground and just standing there and moving a foot or two a week to try to take enemy ground. That's how you win. We're not far from barbarians.
Yeah, and mustard gas was a big weapon of that war, right?
Yeah,
correct. And we haven't learned. These guys are out at Sturgis huffing fucking tire fumes all day and all night.
Same shit.
It's right. Middle class souls. Middle class souls. Everyone were Alan Foxman. Have you guys ever met a member of the Hells Angels?
I have met members of similar motorcycle gangs. So I'm actually so scared to that they would find me that I don't even want to say which motorcycle club that I'm speaking to.
Yeah, I wouldn't if I was you.
Yeah.
I don't even know anything about the shit, but nah, I'm good. No.
I was so young and so naive that I was in a place called Lake Okoboji, Iowa. All right, say that 5 times fast.
Sounds like a place where you can get in some trouble.
No, it's more or less like Ocean City for people in the Midwest. It's a giant lake that has summer retreat-esque John Candy and I don't know whoever the hell they fucking casted with him in that movie. Anywho, and he was on a payphone trying to explain where he was, and he kept he was like, I don't know, Okeechobee, Okajaja. I was like, and I said to him, it's Okoboji. He's like, oh, Okoboji, sir. He's like, oh, I appreciate it, thanks. And I saw the vest and all that on. My brother's like, do you know what the fuck that was? I was like, oh man, some cool looking dude who didn't know where he was, man. Told him Okaboji.
Well, what's wild about these guys? Okay, they would do fundraisers with us at the radio station, and we would raise thousands of dollars for like kids in foster care. However, if you looked at one of them sideways, you were bound to get pistol whipped back behind the Hall's honeypots and left for dead. Like, that's how they rolled. Like, we had a concert shut down because one of them was fucking flashing his sidearm like during the concert, and the local brewery owner was like, "You can't be here with a pistol in your waistband. You can't." And then all hell just about broke loose, and that stopped things for quite a while. In fact, the reason I don't want to mention them, we were speaking about something on the radio at one point that had nothing to do with motorcycle clubs or anything, but one of the words we were using happened to be their name, and we started getting calls. "You best stop talking about them." And I was so nice. I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You say their name again, we're gonna come get you right now." It's like, oh. And then we just shut it down, and we're like, I was like, "What the fuck was I saying?" They're like, "Oh, you were talking about Halloween and Christmas and this, and they used to be a certain type of holiday, and they don't like that."
Damn.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, I got questions, but we'll do it off the air.
Yeah, it was bad news, man. You don't fuck with those guys, and somehow they get away with it. And some of them have members that are in like law enforcement agencies, so you don't fuck with them. You
That's
can't.
why.
That good old boy fucking, again, not that far removed from barbarism, man. That good old boys club still exists.
We're all just we're very tribal as humans.
Yeah.
We do things in packs.
And the best tribes manage to pay off law enforcement and stuff line pockets of politicians.
They're
who
their
vote.
own kind of tribe, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's right.
I can pistol whip Billy behind the porta potties as long as I give $7,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
That's right. Maybe it was. You said it was a who? What was the performance for the fundraiser?
In fact, it was a concert in my honor.
Yeah,
It
who was
like,
performing?
I remember Crowbot was there. They're like an up and coming like alt rock kind of.
Yes, Crowbot.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. Believe me. It wasn't like headliners. Come on, this is fucking like Georgetown, Delaware. But they were the guys that would tour with headliners. I'll say that.
I'm just saying that the movie version of it is it's like an elementary school band, and one of the kids looks at him sideways. Like, that fucking kid, I told the teacher should have. Yeah, the vice principal said don't look at the goddamn members. You see that kid? Smash that trombone in half. Stick it up your fucking tight little white ass.
Jesus Christ!
I've been thinking that now. I got a good plot here. I got it panned out. Whew. All right, make a mental note. All right, I got a good movie from this.
School of Rock too. Yeah.
Jesus.
School of Not. All right, we're going to move on to Friend or Foe. This has something to do with how long do you hang on to your underwear or your undies or your panties or your thongs or any type of undergarment that you might have. Murr shakes his head. Come on. What do you want me to say? All right, Friend or Foe, Murr.
Yes, all right. Time for Friend or Foe, and then I do everything you just did. It helps me lead into the topic because now I have to repeat everything you just said.
Okay, we'll do that again. All right, yeah. School of Not. I'm a funny guy. I'm a really, really funny fucking guy. Definitely the funniest of the three. All right, Murr, Friend or Foe?
All right. Apparently, there's something going viral on TikTok. See how we did that? See?
Yeah,
it's pretty seamless. Okay. All right. You want to do it again where you're not funny? Because you're not.
All right.
Not those little like clappers for takes.
Yeah.
And Mark. So there's a new trend apparently going around on the old TikTok, and there's some lady who's making the rounds informing women that they should throw out their underwear every 6 to 9 months due to the lady part area, if you will. So, Friend or Foe, could you ever conceive of throwing away your underwear under a year? I want to get to this first because I have more information that I'd like to read from the story because it's more of a medical story than a garment story. But have you ever heard of such bullshit nonsense in your entire lives, Wes?
I mean, I'll answer your question before I get into the bullshit science / I guess, paranoia portion of this that kind of drives me nuts. Pandering and or putting some odd fear into women's brains via social media influence. Either way, no, the only reason I would is if it's uncomfortable. I buy it. I try it a couple times. That stuff gives me wedgies. That stuff makes my nuts split in half. That chafes. That doesn't necessarily protect the parts. It can, I specifically for me, if I sit down and I, for a long period of time, whether it be, we'll just say more than a couple minutes, and I stand up with a wedgie, I'll get rid of them. Now I kind of have a brand. I have it zeroed in on what I like. But no, I don't, 6 months. No, the crotch, I have to have holes in the grundle/taint area before I'm chucking those bastards.
So it has nothing to do with the soilage of underwear. It has everything to do with the cut style and comfort.
Cut style, excuse me.
Edit. We'll get to the cut in a second.
Cut style and comfort. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of like socks, the same way. Once I start seeing a hole around the big toe, I'll chuck them. Underwear, same way. Even if it's got that kind of like see-through in the middle, I'm like, this thing's got another couple, got a couple, 3 or 4 wears. This guy's got like a 1, 2, or 3 more good jogs in them. Although I don't jog in my boxer briefs anymore.
Why?
Because I have 2 pairs of jogging shorts that have the liner in them, and if I don't wear those, I wear like compression shorts to work out in.
I can't do the liners and activities because like they make them out of like that mesh, and like ball hairs like stick through the mesh and then tie themselves in knots somehow, and then you end up with like this. I'm not kidding, dude. I remember I tried to take a pair off and I almost took my balls with them. It's just like it's like somebody had braided my nut hairs between the mesh.
That sounds awful.
Yeah,
it was.
To each their own. To each their own. Anyway, so short answer, no. There's no time limit on these things. I mean, it could be 6 to 8 months, or it could be fucking 3 to 4 years, for all I know.
Alan, have you ever thrown out a pair of underwear?
It'll be uninteresting because it's identical to Wes's. Like, my markers are, because like he said, I kind of have it dialed in, so I have the same brand. But the markers are like any holes, or if like the elastic stops being like, like if it starts sliding down a little bit or something like that, like a little easier, then yeah, it's time for that's basically the 2 big markers for me. I also I only wear black underwear. Like, so I don't, you know what I mean? So I don't have like, I think if I wore white underwear and I was like, ooh, look at that pile of fucking yellowish brown fucking clothes that I call clean and put on myself, I'd probably throw them away more frequently.
Look at those. Yeah. Those are nothing but sweat marks in there. I guarantee you.
It's just only
sweat.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm exactly like Wes. Whatever that position was, friend and or foe.
And may I add a little caveat? You mentioned the elasticity that jarred my memory, because when I put on boxer briefs, I have big thighs, particularly big, like soccer kind of running.
That's fair.
There comes a time when the bottoms just stop being kind of tight. You're almost putting on like shorts at that point. Then they're toss them. That takes a while.
Yeah.
I'd agree there too.
I have 3 types of boxer briefs that I wear. I have like there's a pair, some that they wear out, not wear out, but like the elasticity even throughout just the day wears out. So like I only wear those to sleep in. I have another set, Wes, that bottom area, it has actually a ring around it that is not stretchable fabric. It's just solid. And so it stays and it clings your thigh all day. Those are the ones I work in because they don't ride up ever, no wedgies, no nothing. And then I have another pair that's like the whole thing's really stretchy, more like a compression short, and I'll wear those on the weekend because I'm moving, I'm shaking, but I'm not really doing much else. But they never lose their elasticity. But at no point in my life have I thrown out a pair of underwear due to quote unquote soilage. Because Alan, like you said, when I got old.
Not true.
Hold on. Yeah, I was going to say. The show about like, are we just saying like long-term soilage because like we've all shit ourselves?
Okay,
I've thrown those away, and that's because of soilage.
That's okay. That's a different scenario.
Micro, not macro.
Okay, now, all right. Okay, I'll amend that to say this, that the only reason I've ever thrown out a pair of soiled underwear is because I had nowhere to store it in the immediate. So, like, the one time now in the last, I guess 30 years of my life that I've shit myself, which happened at work about 3 years ago now, I wasn't going to have a shit-soaked underwear in the vehicle rotting in the sun all day. So I was like, I got this Wawa bag. We're wrapping it up tight. The next fucking trash can I see along the stop, I'm hucking them. See you later. Sorry. I wish but I've sort of kind of soiled them at home or wherever and been like, oh, I got to change these and just throw them right in the washing machine because we make detergents, really, really aggressive detergents. Because that's where we are in America now. There's a company that prides itself on saying, like, did you leave a whole fucking Lincoln log in your boxer briefs? No problem. This is going to dissolve it. In fact, if there's any left of that Lincoln log, you could probably eat it when it gets done the rinse cycle. Not a big deal. We're all good here. But this video making its rounds on the old TikTok is a woman saying that she throws her underwear away every 6 months because of how dirty and disgusting the vagina is. But many doctors are now stunned that people believe that there is some sort of expiration date on their underwear. Quote, somehow at 6 to 9 months, your underwear magically becomes some type of infectious catastrophe, and that is simply not the case, says Jen Gunter. Now, I love her book title, so we're going to read the whole thing. She's the author of The Vagina Bible, The Vulva and Vagina, Separating the Myth from the Medicine. She said, when people tell you that you need to do really special things with your underwear, that is just an extension of our purity culture, okay? This is the idea that the vagina and vulva are delicate and are somehow the harbinger of some sort of infectious apocalypse, and there's all sorts of special maintenance. It's just not true. If you'd like to clean your vagina, or use soap and water. End of story. So, yeah. So this just comes from people on TikTok. I don't know if they want to be weird, if they want to be special, if they think that their vagina is somehow like, I got more bacteria in my pussy than you. I got to throw my underwear every 6 months.
They're probably selling underwear. They're probably selling their own homemade underwear.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's probably very true.
This is such crap. This is like people preying on skepticism, suspicion, and ignorance. Okay, which unfortunately at an all-time high, and where people get, they spend vast majorities of their day scrolling through social media things, which is fine if you want to be entertained, but for specific medical purposes like this, talk to your fucking OB. They'd be like, "Oh my God, this woman, she seems legit. I'll get with 6 months. I'll start put expiration dates on the tag. Make sure. Oh, I got another week. Better wear these puppies." Like, come the fuck on.
The only way that I would subscribe to that is if you didn't wash your underwear at all. If you said, all right, Murr, listen, I'm going to give you 7 pairs of underwear. Okay. You can't wash them. Okay. So I have to wear them continuously, rotate them through. And after 6 to 9 months, they're definitely going to catch the incinerator. Yeah. They're just not getting washed. They're getting burned. But considering that I wash my clothes every Sunday night, there's no need for this. I have a pair of boxers, not boxer briefs, not briefs, boxers. They're the first pair of boxers I ever bought. They are so threadbare, but there's no holes in them. They're the most comfortable garment you could put on your body. I mean, it's like taking the translucent skin that comes off of you when you've gotten yourself a bad sunburn in an Ocean City beach, and it's just like you made a garment out of it, and it's like a loincloth that just drapes there. Oh my God, it's smoother than silk, and they're just old ass 30-year-old like Hanes boxers, and they still exist. I wear them like once a month just to feel alive.
But yeah, this is what detergent, okay, for better or for worse. Assuming you're not one of those people that wash their clothes in vinegar, which I hear is actually kind of okay.
Yeah,
it's a hippie alternative, but it's not quite, I guess, detergent-esque in terms of cleaning, but it's a better alternative. It's better than not cleaning. It's better than going down to the creek and jamming them and rubbing it against a washboard or something like that. You're actually putting them in a washer or something like that. But man, say what you will. You might not understand what's in hairspray. You might not understand what's in hair gel or shampoo or conditioner. You look at the back of it, you're like, oh, I don't know what the fucking half these things are. Detergent, it's not digestible for a reason. It's because it's killing every goddamn thing that came off your body or someone else's body or the ground or your work desk, chair, your cell phone, your filthy ass fucking money. Just cleans it all.
Yeah. So no. Keep your underwear as long as you like. Just wash it every now and again.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
As a matter of fact, and ladies, if you're getting some of those holes in the front, that's okay too. Makes it. That's good. That's actually reminds me. What was it, the Player Haters Ball? Remember from Chappelle Show?
Chappelle Show. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh, who's the Ozzy Karen Osbourne's daughter?
Sharon Osbourne's daughter.
Sharon.
Kelly
Kelly was like Kelly Osbourne. Just girl has dick holes in her underwear.
You know what?
That was a great bit.
I'm still lingering on something Alan said, like the white brief. Like, again, not that far removed from barbarism. Like, who the fuck decided that white cotton was the way to go for underwear? This is back when garments like that were just utilitarian. They just covered the area and they got the job done. But you couldn't throw a little dark dye in there just to save everybody the embarrassment.
Well, I'm total guess on this. They probably thought that skid marks were the mark of the devil, but wasn't there legitimately? It had something to do with we weren't allowed to wear black socks in high school gym because of fear of poisoning, and that goes back way back when people were wearing dress socks for gym class. They weren't changing from their dress socks that they wore during the day because people, in the 50s and 60s wore dress socks when they went to school rather than change those out for athletic socks. Someone, I don't know who, someone or people got a cut in their foot and died of blood poisoning because of some sort of dye that was in the sock.
That sounds like some 50s, 60s shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. I just feel white cotton, that's safe. If you get a cut in your testicles or your thigh or your ass crack, you're safe with us, buddy.
See, I only wear black socks too.
Yeah, same.
Well, yeah, the times have changed. They're not putting fucking God knows what in this. This
and everything back then was fucking made of fucking lead or asbestos.
Yeah.
So,
and I remember this well because I was playing basketball at the time and wearing nothing but black socks made by Reebok, and wore them once into a gym class, not thinking about it. And you got to change those. And I was like, why? And it got explained to me, and I was like, I'm sure Reebok has come a long fucking way to making safe cotton socks for people to work out, play basketball, run, do sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, whatever you want. You can do it all in these socks and not die.
Shit. I'd never heard that, but that makes 100% sense because they were probably just dipping white cotton in coal tar, and that's how they got their. That's how they got their,
absolutely correct.
That's how they got their coloring. Hey, washing that out.
While you're at it, huff some tire fumes. Really top it off.
By the way, I don't get back to detergents. You don't have to separate your whites and colors anymore. There's no need. It's unnecessary. Now, if you're bleaching, yes, obviously, you only want your whites to be bleached white, but that's it. There's a quality. Equality has reached the washroom, okay? The whites and the colors don't have to be separated.
It's true. It's very true.
Are we friend or foeing anything else?
The friends have it. Keep your fucking underwear. It's more comfortable the longer it goes anyway.
Foeing odd duck fucking social media influencers who are telling people to do such weird things. Stop. Talk to your doctor, all right? Talk to your physician who you pay money for.
Yeah, definitely stop taking serious life advice from the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Stop worrying about
ask somebody else off the internet.
Yeah. Someone who your insurance company pays, and you pay a copay.
Yeah,
At least a little bit of money too.
yeah. Just anybody really. Your grandma. Mom,
Don't
like,
ask her. Don't.
yeah, that's probably
Yeah, don't do that.
There's that
She-
generation's kind of useless at this point.
You know what my grandmother's big solve for arthritis was? Spray some WD-40 on it. It works for the joints of your door. It should work for the joints of your hand.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
And she hands you a caramel too. Just suck on that for about 3 or 4 days. That'll really get the juices flowing. All right, let's expand our craniums. Let's have some facts that aren't social media influence related. Let's have real facts from a tearaway calendar that was fact checked by fact checkers.
Maybe.
Murr,
What do we call it?
call it Fun Fact Friday.
That's right, my friends. It's time to expand your minds. A little mental floss. Amazing facts. Brought to you by our great friends at the scientific community at the Shin Splints Recovery Group. Hey, it's summertime, trying to get that beach body ready for some beach body activities. Maybe you're running to lose a little bit of that beer belly you put on over the winter. Oh, but maybe you got some pain below that knee and above that ankle. Find our friends, the Shin Splints Recovery Group, right now on Facebook. And I've heard that we are going to Mars, a round planet. Unlike the Earth we currently reside on. If you'd like to argue these facts, these points, these myths, why don't you head on over to our other friends at the Flat Earth Science Advocates for Truth. Let's get to it. 5 fun facts for you fuckers on a Friday. Did you know in the early 20th century, cocaine was so widely accepted that virtually anyone could walk into a pharmacy and purchase 1 gram for just 25 cents?
God damn.
Which would be about $8 today. In 1900, it was one of America's best-selling drugs. And guess what? In year 2023, still one of America's best-selling drugs.
Damn.
So what was the okay, look, around that time, I feel like last week or 2 weeks ago, we said 1923 was a pivotal year because they had like a
anti-flirting club or whatever.
Anti-flirting club or something. So that, a lot of things happened at that. But at what point did America finally be like, whew, we gotta curb stomp this whole cocaine thing? We got a bunch of zombies, people who were barely getting any sleep, people who were moderately productive, making promises to other people, and then going back to the pharmacy for more.
Dude, I don't think that was until probably like the Nixon.
The 30s when we ran out of money.
No, I think it's probably like I think it was honestly probably like the 70s. Like I think people were still like, I don't think it was on every street corner or anything like that, but I don't know that I would like to do the research.
Yeah. You said they could go to a pharmacy.
Yeah. Because back then, everything had cocaine in it. Like, everything.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at some of the snake oil, like, quote-unquote snake oil drugs that were readily available, like, cocaine was used to, like, was used by dentists to numb, like, your gums, which, still used by some guy named Dennis to numb his gums. Like, but it didn't become until, like, the drug czars came into play, like under like the Nixon administration, that they were like, how should we classify these drugs? Well, let's schedule them. And then cocaine got put in there, and marijuana and psychedelics.
I find it hard to believe that leading up to the Nixon administration, when he was elected in 1968, that you could purchase cocaine from a pharmacy.
No, you couldn't at that point. But again, but I don't think that it was as frowned upon.
Okay.
As it had become like late 60s forward. There was a lot of cultural shifts occurring, and I think like geopolitical, geosocial, or political social things started to come into play. Am I wrong on this, Alan? Like
No, as just a quick fucking Google search and some research real quick. Looks like so it was formally became illegal as part of a larger fucking a larger bill that was passed. It looks like called the Harrison Narcotics Tax Act. But anyway, yeah. So around 1914, it became illegal, and that was, like you were saying, kind of a cultural shift. It was going out of because keep in mind, 1914 is nothing. Fucking 30 fucking years ago was the end of the Civil War. Fucking, and they were drinking pain tonics and shit like that. You know what I mean? You were getting shit from guys off of fucking wagons. So yeah, like it was a very different time, and yeah, cocaine was a major ingredient. And then yeah, obviously all the DEA stuff and the rise of them in the 70s was fucking like the war on drugs. And when cocaine became scheduled as like a hard narcotic, and that's when shit like it became really, really illegal.
Yeah, like you would do jail for it.
Today.
Like
Yeah.
like between like the time period that we're talking about in the fun fact to like the 70s, it was like, well, physicians didn't necessarily recommend it, but you weren't going to jail for 15 to 20 for having it. And then you get to the 1970s, and that's when it's like, oh, you're going to put this up your nose? Well, somebody's going to put something up your ass if you do. And it's like, okay, maybe I won't do that anymore. But it does go to show you, like, look, I mean, bottom line is like something like Adderall is basically synthetic meth. It's just like the quote-unquote right companies catching the profits off of it. And that's why it's okay, as long as somebody scribbles their signature down to give it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's
Drugs.
we can't control ourselves. We need someone to monitor it. In
Right.
certain dosages, 15 milligrams at
All
a time.
types of uppers and downers and zingers and zangers. Man. What we
Pop
need.
was it for when he's talking to him in was it Black Sheep? Poppers, zooters, zingers, zangers, dingers,
Yeah.
booze, brr.
All
Well,
types of good stuff.
Speaking of the very competent medical industrial complex, in 2006, a report from the Institute of Medicine revealed that of the 3.2 billion prescriptions U.S. physicians wrote in a given year, sloppy handwriting led to 1.5 million patient injuries and more than 7,000 deaths. So, medical professionals in Congress teamed up to create the National E-Prescribing Patient Safety Initiative, which encourages doctors to write prescriptions electronically. Since then, medical errors caused by sloppy scribbles have dropped by 90%.
That's, I mean, good for them. Bravo. God knows how much that costs, but what's a life force, right?
I think according to the National Transportation Safety Administration, $2.3 million.
Yeah, that's about right. You spend a little more in your lifetime. You give a little bit. You volunteer here and there. You pay some taxes. Incoming, outgoing.
I just love that, like, they were like, all right, guys that went to school for like a decade after high school to learn this thing, rather than take an extra 0.5 seconds to write down on this pad of paper that you are, like, I don't know, lawfully attached to. We're now going to have you type it in with a keyboard, which probably your secretary is going to fucking do because she's the only one that can still read your sloppy ass handwriting. So rather than just write legibly, like if I was in Congress, like, can we create the Write Legibly Doctor-Physician Act? Instead, they had to go all the way to the computer systems. And, I mean, 90%. I mean, this is one time that the government actually did something to benefit you directly.
A little bit of regulation helped.
Yeah, it's just the sloppy handwriting was probably on account that these guys were all in, like, you know, their doctors, probably 4 hours of sleep, so they're doing a bunch of Adderall, and then it's like,
Or cocaine.
or cocaine.
I can write myself a prescription.
I will say, firsthand account. A couple months ago, my mom got her a plate put in her wrist because she dislocated it / fractured it. Wrote her a couple prescriptions. I think it was 3. One was an antibiotic. One was a pain pill. The other one I don't know. Whatever. It's inconsequential. Anyway, at the pharmacy desk, I'm like, "Hi, I'm picking this up for my mother. Here's her card. What information do you need? Here's what the doctor wrote." They come back and they go, "Oh, yeah, this antibiotic. Is she allergic to red dye?" I was like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, she is." Like, "Yeah, this has it. Can't prescribe it to her. The allergies." I was like, "All right," and call my mom. She called the doctor while I was in there. Doctor faxed or emailed a prescription right there, and within 2 minutes, a new prescription was written with a blue dye that she's not allergic to. I was like, "Holy shit!" 4 minutes later, after finding this out, I was like, "Oh, here you go." I was like, "This isn't the red dye. Are you lying to me? Are you?"
So why? Okay, if that's the case, then why do they even make it with the red dye?
Probably the same reason they were dunking socks in black dye in the 50s. I don't know. Yeah, why? Well, you're right. I mean, okay, which leads me to believe is the dye just for aesthetics.
Yeah, because like,
Probably. Or identification.
well,
Yeah.
because
I mean, can't you do that with a stamp? Don't they engrave them? Don't they give it like
Well,
a? Oh,
well, it depends. Like, is it a capsule? Can't fucking engrave a capsule. Like,
okay.
shit like that.
yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough. I mean, like, you're right for identification purposes. Because like, I went to the eye doctor the other day, and like, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna give you these contacts. You know, I see you're gonna be turning 44 in a few weeks." And he's like, "Oof, your nearsightedness it's gonna get terrible real soon. Like literally, drop of the hat. It's just gonna be gone." He's like, I don't know. I don't want to fuck your eyes up though with this new prescription of contacts. He's like, because I know you read a lot. And I was like, nah, it's more recognition. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, I don't read shit anymore. Like all these addresses I see, like I recognize it's pattern recognition. Like I if it starts with a D, I know I've got the right address in front of me. I'm not reading like Danford every fucking time. It's like, yeah, it's about 8 letters long and it has a D. That's a fucking word. That's the one I'm looking for. So yeah, red equals fucking pain pill.
Why?
Makes sense.
I'm from the Dick Mop residence. Why do you keep bringing me Danford mail, dude?
Or there's probably
Dick
like,
Mop.
there's probably like, well, also it's like, it's branding too, probably, because like if they're like generic medicines, multiple pharmaceutical companies make that generic medicine, and I guess they can't be the same.
Yeah, for a nickel versus like $20 a pill. Yeah, because I mean, like even whatchamacallit, Benadryl, like Benadryl kids, they have like there's the red and then there's dye free, and it's like, well, what's the difference? The color. Like, well, then fucking quit putting the goddamn red shit in the one.
But it's like then you got to keep in mind like then there's some dickbag who's allergic to blue, so now you need a red one. You know what I'm saying? Like these are all things that you have to take into account. I think like when you're dealing with a population of I don't know billions of people.
I know, but or like I'm paying you through the fucking nose, and I'm paying my insurance company through the nose, and they're paying you through the nose, and you could just read.
Yeah, or your doctor could know that you're allergic to red and be like, she needs the blue.
Well, it was a surgeon, and he didn't know.
Yeah, understandable.
But the pharmacy knew. Well, that's pretty good.
Hey,
Well,
good
that's
on them. Good on them. Way to go. Way to go, last chain of command.
Right.
Congratulations.
That's why there's layers to this healthcare system.
Yeah. Very competent layers. Did you know, when it comes to animal intelligence, ravens rank right up there with chimpanzees and dolphins. In the wild, ravens have reportedly pushed rocks on people to keep them from climbing up to their nests, played dead beside a beaver carcass to scare other ravens away from the feast, and stolen Costco customers' packaged meats right out of their carts.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
So
I read something the other day that said, like I guess this guy was at a zoo, and there were some ravens in a fucking. Well, I don't know why they had ravens at the zoo, but they had ravens at the zoo, and they said call at the dude in like I just said call at you, like they said it in a human voice because, and then the zookeeper was like, yeah. Humans say call at them all the fucking time, like all day. So then they just mimic humans back at humans, like impersonating them, like kind of mocking them. So they're just like call, you fucking idiots. But that's not the sound we make because we're birds. But like, they're mad. They're fucking mad smart.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Do you think ravens rank up at the top of the totem pole in the bird intelligence meter?
They're definitely up there.
I just think
That's
they're
wild.
more because like pigeons are apparently smart, but they're fucking pigeons and they're fucking dopey and they got like dumb dopey bodies and they're not fucking like, you know. And so like the raven I think is able to like survive more in the wild and they're a lot more wily. I heard if you like cut the little thing under their tongue, like they can talk. Like there's like a hindrance with like that little like connective tissue under their tongue, but if you snip it, yeah, they can like Alan's saying, they can just mimic and talk and do like a parrot.
Yeah.
But they know what they're saying to an extent.
Or like parrots, the them mimicking human voice and words. There's no. It's a totally different way of making that vibration. Right, it's not like vocal cords like we have in tongue. Kind of like parrots use a totally different way of creating that type of sound, that vibration. Whereas you're just saying crows, right, only require a snip of a tendon. a circumcision, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
of the crow. God, maybe we should do that with all of them. Maybe we shouldn't actually muzzle those fuckers. We don't need that.
Yeah.
No.
So crows and ravens on like most of these lists that I'm pulling up come up one and two.
Crows and ravens.
Crows and ravens, and then like a common third and fourth is African grays. They're just big gray parrots. They look fucking sweet. I'm not gonna lie to you. Macaws. I don't know what this fucking Australian. I think it's New Zealand. It's called a kea, I guess.
Okay.
It's like it looks like a tiny parrot.
Okay.
It's super smart.
What are like the okay? I forgive my ignorance here, but what are the straight up white parrot sized birds?
You're
Like that
talking
they,
about
they
like
get
cockatoos?
yeah, the cockatoos.
With the little like fucking like mohawk tail.
Yeah. There's a cockatoo at
Yeah,
the
cockatoos.
at the Plumpton Park Zoo, and I'm sure this guy's so used to getting fucked with that like he doesn't have time for people. But there was I've been going to this place for so long. I'd be like, hey man, what's up, dude? And, hey Ozzy, and he would bite, and he would bite other people. But I got to where like he'd let me pet him, and now when we go to the zoo, he'll stay in the back of the cage. But if I come up, I'm like, Ozzy, what's up, buddy? Ozzy, and he'll be like, and he'll fucking walk all the way up to the cage, and he'll stand there and fucking just let me fucking pet his head and shit. He knows me.
So
They're
Mur-
smart. They're smart, dude.
So at this zoo in Cecil County, Murr, you scare a type of animal by throwing your hands up, right?
Yeah, that scare the jackals.
You scare the jackals. You have a parrot you're friends with, and then you and your son mock this one-eyed tiger
Yeah.
that just kind of like floats around. It humps the air, right?
Yeah.
It lays
Fuck
in
that
its back and dry. Fuck that tiger.
Fuck that tiger.
You could write like a Cecil Tucky children's book
Yeah.
about the zoo.
A day at the zoo.
Tucky Zoo.
Fucking with the animals at the zoo. I need to go back before those lions get too big. I gotta fucking train them.
That's right.
One day they're gonna fucking escape based on the cage that they fucking built in Cecil County.
Then
That
you-
thing's coming down. They did
that
not. They did not lion rate that motherfucker.
By that point, your nearsightedness will be too fucked up. You're like, it's too far away.
It's like the Joe Exotic tiger pens. It's just like long fence, like set up for.
It's essentially
it's like a fucking pen. It's like good luck.
essentially it's like the same fencing they use for all the cats, but they don't have a cat that's quite as big as a lion's gonna get. Like maybe they'll move him. I don't know. Maybe they'll build a second barrier. I don't know. But what I'm looking at does not look lion proof. I mean, it looks like lion resistant. Okay, like when you get a watch, it's water resistant. It's like it just basically means you can wash your hands with your watch on. Like one of these lions gets a little aggressive, the shit's going down. End of story.
Right around when hunger and mating season.
Mm-hmm.
Find
And they're juveniles too, man. The male doesn't even have it. The male doesn't even have his mane yet. So I'm like, there's gonna be a day where Homeboy's got some fucking juice flowing, and it ain't nothing stopping him.
Yeah.
Not that rickety ass fucking like rebar you got in front of us.
This is what you talked about. Like we're not that far from savagery, and we're not that far from Darwinism at its best. Here you are in this place where they have two juvenile, on the cusp of becoming, where they would take over a lion pride, kill another male lion, and be like, okay, this entire territory is mine. And they have fucking chicken wire and a couple of newel posts set up.
It's like that perfectly square, like I'm talking like maybe 1/4 inch steel, and that's it. And it's way too close to where people can get. Like they've got like a couple paver bricks. Like and their big thing is don't sit on the wall, because if you sit on the wall, you are a tiger's paws reach through from fucking like losing an artery.
Yeah, guys, or a hand or a wrist. I will say the first time I visited that zoo, I was in elementary school, and the big takeaway we had from that day was a horse that had an erection, and no man, woman, or child, or even adult that day had seen. When you say stallion, this is what it meant. This is what it meant. And years later, when I was less naive, less ignorant, and the internet was a thing, I didn't see it, and I still have yet to see one of these either on the internet or in person. I haven't been down to Tijuana ever or in a long time. But when they say a donkey show or a horse show, it's like, wow, that's damn, fuck that.
Oh, well, you haven't lived, Wes, because
She's gonna have to get rid of more than her underwear. Let me tell you that.
Did you know? According to John Jameson's etymology dictionary of the Scottish language, 200 years ago, to hurkle durkle meant to lie in bed or to lounge after it was time to get up to go to work. Basically, the urge that we fight every single morning.
Man, I'd be hurkle-durkling hard in the mornings, too. That's dude, Old English. We lose a lot. We lost a lot of words that we should still be using.
No, what's funny about this, I guess I, through exposure, just kind of knew what that meant, but I didn't know it was a real thing, because my dad used to say hurkle-durkle all the time. And my dad's one of the corniest motherfuckers you'll ever meet. Just when they say dad jokes, they might as well say Bill Murr jokes. That's all he does. And he would say all right, quit your hurkle-durkling. And I thought he was just being like Ned Flanders, but it's an actual fucking thing. I was actually amazed to read this fact that the phrase hurkle-durkle actually means to lie in bed, lounge, and just basically procrastinate.
Yeah.
This is Scottish, wasn't even Old English, right? I guess Old Scottish is Old English, although the Scots would probably tell you, "Fuck them, we made that up." That was us.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Hurkle-durkle. I'm gonna use that shit tomorrow too.
Yeah. Use that with your fucking coworkers, and use it when you're really angry and you're going off on a tirade, and all you motherfuckers are sales are down because you bunch of hurkle-durkling motherfuckers sit around your desk not doing a goddamn thing.
I cannot wait. This is gonna be so fun.
And by the way, you said I'd be waking up hurkle-durkling hard. Do that with morning wood. It'll even be extra special.
Hurkle-durkle.
Well, that's usually what causes me to hurkle-durkle.
Hurkle-durkle wood.
Because I got a hurkle-durkle, you know what I'm saying?
Gotta hurkle that durkle.
Gonna get on my
And
moped.
finally, and wave to all those bikers. Did you know the sheer spangled dress that Marilyn Monroe, who was born on this day, June 1st, 1926, that dress that she wore to sing Happy Birthday to JFK in 1962 set the world record for the most expensive dress ever sold at auction. Ripley's, believe it or not, purchased it for $4.8 million.
Damn.
Did not know that.
4.8 mil. Shoot me. I mean, I get it. It's historic. I don't know. It's just those types of things are weird to me because I guess supply and demand, and the supply is limited because it's one of a kind. Yeah. She wore it. It's not, I mean, unless you're putting up against other dresses like that, which God knows how many of them they made or didn't make.
Well, there's only one, and it has a stain on it.
I think the weirder thing is who bought it. Ripley's, believe it or not.
Yeah, but I mean, they got museums and stuff. So if they're
I would make the wax model, and then
Well, that I mean, but I would say that Ripley's, believe it or not, is the. I don't know, Jerry Springer to Oprah of the Louvre to whatever they do.
Saying. The Marilyn Monroe fucking dress seems like it would be like she sang it to John F. Kennedy. You know what I mean? It feels like it would be at a Smithsonian or a fashion museum, but somewhere in New York or Italy.
I don't disagree with you at all, Alan, but I think the implication behind the dress and the people that fund those museums that you're speaking of, would shirk it, be that it's the stepchild of significant artifacts. Because have you guys ever actually watched that video of Marilyn Monroe?
It's pretty egregious.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
because you know that bitch is getting her fucking comeuppance on that that like happy birthday, Mr. President. Like, hey Jackie, I've been fucking your husband, and he won't admit it, and I'm gonna make sure everybody knows right now because it's the 1960s, and I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, like at a different time, that's how two broads start fighting at a reception. You know what I mean? Like, like yeah, it is really weird. Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. I don't know, it just seems odd. You know what I mean? Like, they went to fucking Christie's one day and bought, like, you know, the fucking, like, pygmy person bones in a jar and fucking Marilyn Monroe's fucking dress. You know what I mean? Like, they what the haul from that fucking auction vit trip was fucking weird. Like, they got the Gator Boys preserved fucking body and fucking Marilyn Monroe's dress. Like, it just seems very strange to me that they were the ones who scooped it up.
You're right. You're not wrong. I do wonder though, like, at what point does like something like that become? Right now, it's still valuable. At what point does that become not valuable at all? Like, for example, when I'm delivering stuff, like I'll get like these order now. Like I'll get these like John Wayne commemorative coins. This is the last time we're minting the Hondo Memorial silver dollar, you know, like, at what point does that generation die off? Like, at what point does the John Wayne generation die off? At what point does the Elvis generation die off to where, like, that stuff's, like, not worth shit anymore? Like, at what point do people forget about who Marilyn Monroe was or JFK or any of it?
I mean, it'll be interesting. You want to say when people who actually were alive to witness it are no longer, but in the last, I don't know, 75, 80 years, we've preserved history through recordings and video so well. You know, I mean, even the Beatles are probably going to be timeless as long as people are listening to music. And I think as long as people still like attractive women, you know, you'll get a Marilyn Monroe. Christ, I still Marilyn Monroe Playboy about once a year.
Yeah, like I mean, we still have like Wes is saying, like we have literally pretty much the world's knowledge in our pockets.
Yeah.
I think the bigger issue is that like societally, no one knows how to actually determine fact from fiction anymore. So like, although we have all the world's knowledge in our hand, sometimes we're like, well, that's probably true.
Yeah. I think I think a better question would have been, you know, a really hot babe from the 1860s. You know, like when do people stop forgetting her? Like, well, you know, the time no one snapped a picture of her nude and no one ever figured out that she was having sex with Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair enough.
That's when.
By the way, that's your Fun Fact Friday. But I do want to say this, like, so this popped up on like a Pandora alert. It said the seminal album that redefined the Beatles. It's the 56th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper, Lonely Hearts Band. And I started thinking, like, wait a second, I'm going to be 44 in a couple of weeks. And that means that, like, Sgt. Pepper was only out for, like, 12 years before I was born. And it makes me, like, that caused me today to, like, go through this fucking mind warp of, like, that the Beatles weren't that long broke up before I was born. And music history is only, like, rock and roll, modern music history is about 100 years old as we stand today.
Mm-hmm.
Like moving forward, like up into Little Richard and everybody that came after him. And I'm just thinking, like, holy shit, what a young, like, we think about it like this story, like, you talk about the Beatles are timeless. Some of them are still alive. There's 2 of them left. You know what I mean? But it seems like ancient history, but it's still modern history. It's I don't know. It's fucking wild.
Like, yeah, like that was fucking. I think Kelly the other day was reading something, and she was like, "Hold up," she was like, "You know, Ruby Bridges is like 68," and I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "That checks out." She was like, "That wasn't that long ago," and I'm like, "Yeah, man. Like, America's not that fucking old. we don't get to we don't get to harken back to like shit we did fucking 800 years ago and be like, oh, our bad. Like, fucking, they're only like the 250, not even. Like, yeah, we're real young.
Yeah, was it? I think 20. Was it 2027 or 2026? Was it
2026?
Six? Is that Philadelphia is going to be like the epicenter of the country?
Like 250, right?
Does it, the 250th anniversary of the United States, which is also because Philly's hosting the All-Star game, and they get a world, and they have a World Cup.
World Cup. That's right.
I mean, yeah, Philly's going to be a goddamn pinata bust open.
Well, I hope
we are.
You hit that pinata and meat and cheese just falls out. I'm going to be under it.
I feel that's like what you're telling me is it's prime time for a Warren. And we're gonna go fucking Warren here in a couple years.
As long as
hopefully
we decide,
hopefully not with ourselves.
Yeah, and hopefully it's just a good mud stomping. You know what? Let's fight England. That's a big island. We could just take it. Why not?
Yeah, or like something happens where like there's a Chernobyl in fucking Russia, like Russia proper, and they have a real hard time handling it. We just kind of go over there and we're like, yoink. Thanks for playing. Thanks for playing this very long game with us. You lose.
They're gonna be like another Grenada, a 9-hour conflict.
Look,
we get a couple good old boys down there.
We need a unifying event. We need for lack of a better fucking parallel, we need another 9/11. We need more Toby Keith songs. That's what America needs, I think.
I think we're due for another like proud to be an American.
Yeah,
God bless one of those shitty fucking songs every 25 years. Some dickwad right there. Okay. That's a terrible song. How dare I?
How dare you? Lee Greenwood is a fucking American legend.
It's courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. Okay?
That's a song. I don't give a shit. You can talk shit about it all you want. That's a fucking song. If you got a patriotic bone in your body, fucking we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Kiss the perimeter of my dick hole. That is a fucking song.
And if you happen to have a video board, you have the wavy American flag that's translucent
wavy
with
flag.
with a bald eagle that's dumber than the crow and the raven flying behind it.
Footage of eagle followed by flowing river with salmon.
Arlington Cemetery.
Fucking amber waves of grain, like blowing in the wind.
Mount Rushmore. Let's see here. A cowboy of sorts, whether it's in Texas, Oklahoma.
Definitely a cowboy.
A bearded man shooting an AR and a fucking like a big can of tannerite, just fucking
And let's not, we're modernized. A couple of ethnics in Brooklyn on a basketball court, arm in arm, smiling.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Different, like all different browns. They got this Indian. They don't play basketball. Like just slide one in there. The Blue Angels fly over.
You're right. Yeah.
Speaking of, hold on.
God bless the USA.
Speaking of which, I'm old enough to remember fucking stations signing off, and everything you just said was like followed by like a fucking boo. Like that, I can remember like WJZ at like, I don't know, 1 a.m. Everything you just said flicked across the screen, and then it was like, this concludes our broadcast day. Boop, until like 6 a.m.
See, perhaps I'm a bit jaded. I don't know if I've told you guys this on the podcast, but if I have, forgive me because I'm going to tell it again. And it's because my brother, who at the time was writing for the Cecil Whig, we've discussed this, the Cecil County newspaper, had to cover a ribbon cutting ceremony for a new fire station in Galena, which is technically Kent County, but it's just over the line, a town of about 800 to 900. In the ribbon cutting ceremony at this new volunteer firefighter station had about, 14, 17 people. And on a PA system, they played God Bless America, the Star Spangled Banner, standing the entire time. And then Dewey was like, all right, that's it. And then it beamed right into Proud to be an American. And he said it was about 8 dudes drunk from the American Legion with their fucking USS naval hats / USS Marine hats, like saluting and crying for this like cutting of a one bay volunteer firefighter station in middle America. Dude's like, Jesus Christ, 12 minutes of fucking standing. Get over yourselves.
Yeah.
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 So maybe perhaps that's why I'm a bit jaded about that song. No, oh, actually, I got the litmus test. Murr, do you think "Wind to Change" is a good song?
From the Scorpions?
Yeah. The end of the fall of the Berlin Wall. End of communism.
I mean, I don't like all the whistling. I get it. It's a fucking metaphor.
That's fucking reasonable. That's not a bad thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Have somebody play a flute or something.
So it is a matter of songwriting.
Well, like I get it. I get it. Like it's a wind of change, and you're fucking using like
you're whistling.
human wind to make wind. It's fucking changing. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it. Fucking yeah. On the shores of Gongamon, whistling on the wind of change.
I thought it was from the shores of the Moskwa down to Gorky Park.
Maybe it is. Who gives a shit?
Fucking why do you know those words?
It ain't America.
I've listened to the song once or twice, but I don't know. I know that
it's a good song. They rammed it down our throat in the fucking 90s, like early fucking 89, 90, 91. It's just fucking, yeah. I get it. Hey, Scorpions, good job. Way to go. You rallied some people I don't care about.
All right. Well, this, folks, tonight on Before You Go, this building might be a new background and a montage of, what's the name of the song? Proud to Be an American by who? Keith Urban?
Lee Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood.
Lee Greenwood.
Okay, this takes place out of a place called Burbank, Oklahoma. Literally nothing around it. They are advertising a 17,000 square foot building, which was formerly Burbank High School. Last used, you guess, and he takes on the last time the high school was used or closed, rather.
Ooh, I'm gonna say 1995.
Ooh, I'm gonna go more recent, like 2005.
You'd both be wrong. 1968 was the last time this was used. And it comes at a sticker price of $60,000. You guys want to take a look?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, here we go.
Do we got interior or just exterior?
No, we got interior. We got.
Oh, fuck yeah.
We have everything, folks. All right.
This was a high school?
Yeah.
Okay, I like the exterior. I mean, it's very like castle-y. It's like very like
Gotcha. Here's a good walkway, good entrance.
Okay, all right. I can see. Look, you got to see beyond the picture. Okay, now I get some guy in here off of TikTok who does this shit for free because he wants to advertise his business. I'm like, yeah, you power wash that shit and you fucking edge the sidewalk. That looks good. All right.
I know that guy too. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
I'll do this for free. All right. Look at this. I don't know. Keep the seats. Don't keep the seats. Keep the piano. Don't keep the piano. Get rid of the drop ceiling.
I stripped the asbestos off the wall. Actually, I fixed the drop ceiling, and I make this an actual theater where, like, I've got a projector, 4K projector screen up there, and I have all 5 of my best friends over to watch, like, a movie.
All right.
Yeah, I would keep that pretty much the same. Just
okay,
like
very Chernobyl-y. I'm not sure that fungus that's dripping down from head to toe, a lot of stalactites going on. But
the Last of Us stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, a hell of a karaoke night you can have.
Hey, look, we got a fire door. That's good.
Safety.
Yeah.
Rated. Keep that. That's nostalgic looking. That's kind of quasi modern. Is it barn door? All right. Yeah. There's another look at the stage.
It's heavy metal. It's actually a fallout shelter.
Shit, yeah. Look, I see this being bought by like a Duggar family kind of thing, and like you've got all your activities just ready to roll.
Yeah, that's it. The volleyball. This is weird. This looks like, okay, you see these volleyball court poles here? This reminds me of early football when the field goal post was in the actual end zone.
Yeah,
This
like on
is-
the front.
basketball players just had to work their way around. It was it was an all-time screen.
I don't even know what those are, to be honest with you, because it can't be volleyball posts because they're too close
Are
together.
Yeah, no.
That's a small basketball court. The 3-point line goes all the way to the wall.
I don't know if there is a 3-point line. That was like,
They're right here.
okay, yeah, okay.
There's one, yeah.
I say, I mean, you have some options. God knows what this is. Nice chandelier, though.
Okay,
That's odd.
taking it.
I hadn't hit the stand-up shower.
Okay, all right, that's standard. All right, that's fine.
Classroom. Got a check
Like,
one.
all right, let's start really flicking through these bastards because, like,
yeah.
I feel
Okay,
like we
yeah,
got-
you're right. Got a jacuzzi tub.
oh.
Got a school in the closing the six. What was this for? Love making between the principal and the Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, seriously, what is that? It's like a Turkish bathhouse. I
Said it
don't
was abandoned in the 60s.
68.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
there was just that. There was a smooth talking principal that was fucking bedding all
Yeah.
the teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is like a bathtub in the middle of a room is aggressive. That's all I
Yeah,
know.
that's
I
a
don't-
move.
Lockers. Anyway.
Fire panel.
Okay, bottom line, it's a little dilapidated, but so how much is $60,000?
It's got a trophy
That's right.
case.
man. It does.
Trophies in there.
Yeah.
Okay, bottom line is that is in my opinion, a $3 million property. You get it for $60,000, and you're the kind of guy that has that kind of money. Then you spend the other $2.5 million fucking renovating,
Yeah.
and you've got yourself a fucking kingdom. That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that it's in Nowheresville, Oklahoma.
That's fine. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, that's a compound. That is some guy who's a prepper who made a lot of money. I don't know, like Duck Dynasty guys. I made all my money making duck calls. I'm gonna buy this fucking abandoned school in Oklahoma, and I'm gonna, if the apocalypse happens, I'm good because I guarantee there's like fields. There's like a football field. There's tennis courts. That's like, dude, that's the kind of shit. Like if I ever win that like just $3 million off the lottery, that's the kind of shit I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna do that.
I guess I'm curious as to whether or not, like, okay, you get it for 60 grand. What do you think you have to put into it? Another 3 mil?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you think you could not find something that's 3 million that's similar to that's already built with current infrastructure, current air conditioning, heating, et cetera, or do you think this is like a empty canvas that you can paint your own?
I think that most of the cost is in construction, and the bricks, the foundation's already there. The bricks there, the brick and mortar's there. So like now you're just talking about running cable. You're talking about re-drywalling. You're talking about new drop ceilings. You're talking like I guarantee the plumbing just still works. And by the way, like the shit they made back then was made to last, unlike today where it's made to fix or replace. And so I feel like most of what you have there is probably cast iron pipes. They're not going to burst. There's a lot of good shit already. There's a lot of good veins in that building.
Gotcha. Alan, location aside, because I know Oklahoma isn't on your destination of where you
Is it
do or
on
don't want to live.
anyone's?
There are some Oklahomans. Do you agree with Mer's sentiment about the bones are there?
I mean, maybe by bones you mean like the facade and the foundation and the brick, but like, nah. I've pulled apart schools that have been fucking. I've retrofitted schools that are fucking like half less time abandoned. Let's say, fucking, gotta rip all that shit out. Fucking, like, especially like, I don't know about domestic plumbing, but they probably have to do similar due diligence as they do with the sprinkler plumbing. And like all of that old pipe is sometimes good, but a lot of times not. Like, especially if it hasn't been tested, like, go ahead and start fucking flowing hundreds or thousands of gallons of water through fucking sprinkler pipe when you go to test that bitch and watch something fucking explode. Yeah, there will be a lot to do. I mean, I looked at a school similar that looks probably similar in size up in Carroll County, and just my portion of work was like $500,000. Like, it's gonna cost like fucking 10.
But I will. But what I'll say though, man, like there's a house that I deliver to that it used to be office. It used to be like office space, but I guess they couldn't where its location. They couldn't sell another office. They couldn't sell it to another business. So somebody bought it, and now it's a residence. And the coolest thing about it is the parking lot. Like if you were gonna have like family and friends over, you have no problem. There's parking everywhere. It's like just the way because it's commercial. It's commercial real estate that's now been converted to residential. It's everything about like hosting people is just spot on. Like there's nothing. You have no issues.
They're definitely sweet if you can find like good deal. Like this is the thing. It's like you got to have the money for it. That shit's huge. Like a school's big, and like
17,000 square feet.
And like depending on where you are, like I don't know how fast and loose Oklahoma is with shit. You know what I mean? Like certain places, like you could buy that shit in Baltimore City and really not do anything to it, and the city would be like, whatever. It's code compliant. It's fine. You know what I mean? But like some places will be like, hell no. You gotta rip a bunch of shit out. You start. Did you move a wall? You better give us our $100,000 worth of permit fees, motherfucker. Like, yeah, there are things that go on in those buildings that I think most people don't even fathom, and like, it's gonna take a lot of fucking money.
So, real quick, because we're getting short on time here, so I want to pivot to a similar story. A Maryland high school right here in our backyard, Meade High School out of Anne Arundel County.
Oh, yeah.
The seniors played a prank where for a short period, they were able to post the high school on Zillow for sale. The 12,458 square foot Meade High School as a half working jail. It was only up.
Nice.
It was only up for like a handful of hours before they caught wind of it. The principal, a guy named Bob Mosier, took it in stride. This is really good. Quote, all 15 bathrooms come with sewage issues. There's a nice spacious kitchen and a dining room with a private basketball court. But we are frankly stunned. The listing lasted vastly underestimated the value of the prime piece of real estate like this, especially one with such amazing amenities. I can't imagine that there's going to be a rush of bidders to snap up this one. And then actually he quoted, it's just funny. I like a principal with a good sense of humor. No one was hurt. No property was damaged. It was very creative.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like it.
So,
yeah, that guy wasn't cleaning up fucking horse shit out of the fucking cafeteria. So he was like, "Thanks, guys. Way to use your computer skills to fucking pull your prank instead of fucking like ruining everything for a day and a half."
Piece of school, yeah. Yep.
So I actually noted I went through a few, and we're getting close to graduation for most high schools and colleges as well, if they haven't already gotten out. Noted some of the ones that I saw as some of my favorites. You guys want to hear these? Senior pranks. All right. A few days before graduating, we listed our principal's house for sale by the owner of Craigslist. Priced at about $75K below market, and scheduled an open house on the day and time of our ceremony. I heard a dozen people were in his driveway when he got home.
That's fucking great.
That's fucking good.
The best prank I witnessed when it's coming from a staff member. The best prank I have witnessed was when seniors transformed the parking lot into a betting zoo. Goats, cows, sheep, etc. Hay bales as a border. They started it pretty early and had it set up before anyone arrived. This is another one. The welding program for seniors welded a VW bug. They took it apart and welded it around a flagpole before graduation. The school couldn't get it off in time, so everyone showing up for graduation had to walk past the prank.
That's pretty good. I remember that. That was probably like 20 years ago now, but yeah, that's a good one. They disassembled a car, then reassembled it around the fucking flagpole. That's awesome.
One of the seniors' dad's owners had a heavy equipment rental business, so they put the principal's roof on top of the car. Fortunately, he was a good sport about it since he knew he'd get it back. I don't know, like be a good sport about that.
Well, what are you gonna do? You gonna raise a ruckus and like, right, fine, fuck it, get down yourself.
Call the cops. When my husband was the principal at a local high school, seniors got into his office and individually wrapped everything in aluminum foil: books, pens, file folders, desk, chair.
That's just
Very good.
That's a lot of dedication.
This is seniors hired a mariachi band to follow the principal around for a day. This is a good one. It's actually back to back. It's from different people. So this is good news or good pranks, catch a rolling moss, gather stone, if you will. A class printed thousands of business cards and said something to the tune of, there's 5,000 of these hidden around the school. Good luck getting rid of us. And then another one, about 30 years ago, the senior class bought 10,000 business cards. Simply said, class in 1985, hid them everywhere, under couches, behind paintings, books, in the library, ceiling tiles. Needless to say, every now and then someone comes across them, even to this day. This was written in 2020.
That's solid.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, the seniors of two Central Alabama high schools reversed and showed up at each other's school.
That's pretty fucking good too.
Yeah.
So like the whole senior class just they switch schools.
Pulled a switcheroo. Yeah.
Wow.
Whoever coordinated that, that should be on a job resume.
Yeah.
You know?
100%. Like what
I'm an
you
organizer.
do. Yeah, like what you do. Like that would be like that's how you get that job. Like, so what's your greatest accomplishment? Well, back in 1985, I actually coordinated with Elkton High School for their entire senior class to come to Perryville.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Because
laughs.
That's pretty fucking good.
This here's a similar one. The teacher was called out of the office for a minute. They had gotten a secretary in on the prank to do that. While he was gone, the seniors went to the next room, and the class was filled with second graders. Came in and filled the senior room spot. That's good. There's another one about. Apparently, let's see here. It was like someone who knew a chicken farmer. Apparently, they gave up on a couple of roosters or chickens because they couldn't lay eggs anymore, and they got their hands on like 6 dozen of them and let them loose in the school around like 6:30 a.m. Yeah,
yeah, like
Chasing
I mean,
around chickens.
we didn't have a senior prank. Like I don't know. Did you guys do anything?
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, I think some assholes let some like crickets loose. They ordered like a shit ton of crickets. I also think some assholes like oiled a set of steps, and a fucking administrator fella was not pleased. Yeah, so that was like dangerous. We all fucking planned like a 6 a.m. barbecue and parked in the junior lot because there were separate lots, obviously, and then just mayhem ensued. Like nothing really happened other than like they didn't know what to fucking do. And like that administrators were out there at like 6:30 a.m. being like, you can park here. We're not going to give you tickets. But then the kids were like driving around fucking panicking because what are they going to do? And then I think the biggest one I remember, which I had no part in, was like a couple of the actual like goodies of the class, I think, planned it and fucking dug a big ass hole and planted a fucking apple tree in center field. And I believe we had a fucking playoff game that afternoon, and the vice principal was the fucking head coach of the varsity baseball team, and he lost his fucking mind. And if I remember correctly, like they did this shit all day. They had the parents come in and fucking they were going to suspend these motherfuckers, and then the parents and the administrators were all in on it, and they were just fucking with the two ringleaders and got them fucking good. But yeah, it was a day.
Wow. I think like we filled leftover, the cabinets from the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have enough books to fill the cabinets up, so there was a bunch of empty slots, and we just filled that with a bunch of leftovers from lunch. And over the course of a month, it created like a fruit fly infestation in the library. That necessarily wasn't a coordinated prank. We did it one day, and the next day we're like, yeah, we should add another one. And it just like collectively over the course of like 3 weeks filled it up. I will say though, someone gave me, there's like we tried to prank someone by filling a Gatorade bottle with like half-drinking Gatorade and a bunch of like other disgusting food, and no one would eat it. We put like $20 out on the table. That's not the point of the story. Then my buddy said later on, like, hey, there's that, because we had missing drop ceiling tiles in parts of the hallway. So I was like, hey, you should just throw that, jump up and throw it down and see what happens. Dude, total fucking coincidence. Completely empty hallway. I jump up, I throw it down as hard as I can. And that fucker, like, I heard it go do 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 do. The fucking fire alarm goes off. All right. Turns out it was totally planned, but the coincidence of that happening and my naive mind and heart and asshole were just like, I'm fucked. I'm not graduating. They caught me. An investigation's happening. I was like, I had to like walk out with a random class, but yeah, they know. They're on to me. They're on to me. So anyway, no senior prank, but kudos to these folks. Say any favorites? I like the classroom switcheroo or the high school senior class
I like
switch.
the high school senior. Yeah, I like that too, because that takes an inordinate amount of fucking coordination and like people like willing to accept, like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'm going to drive to an entirely different school today.
You're right. A certain buy-in level, even like the goody two shoes, perfect attendance motherfuckers. Yeah. Like, like, no, I'm not doing that. I might get suspended. They might not let me walk across and take my diploma. God, thinking about it back then, I wouldn't have given a shit. My mom would have been devastated. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'd have been like, whatever. I don't care.
Give me my diploma.
We had to wear fucking tuxedos, for Christ's sake. I don't know, like, sweet. I don't got to wear that? Awesome. Thank you.
I don't have to wake up at 8 in the morning, go through some choreographed fucking...
Wear a tuxedo with a white coat like I'm fucking James Bond.
Yeah. Like, this is the Randy Savage theme song, isn't it? Alan, tell the kiddos, the kidettes, and the soon-to-be graduates, the class of 2023, where you can find.
Congratulations, idiots. Either you got duped and you went to fucking college, or you fucking are finishing high school and you're about to get duped on your way to college. Good job. So if you want to listen to more of us berate you about your educational choices, you can check us out on all your favorite social media platforms. We're at MDL Classholes on Instagram and Twitter. We're the Middle Class Holes on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube. And of course, for your listening pleasures, please check us out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so.
It felt like it's been a while.
Only a couple of listener comments this week. First of all, coming from Martha Stewart is my puff pastry on Instagram. Enjoy Copeland writes, "You do not need a caveat for her age. She looks good. Period."
I mean, I think we said that though. Like, I mean, I don't think you have to be like for her age. Looks all right.
I think you do. I think you have to say for her age, because, like, I mean, look, if there's a room full of able-bodied 20 to 40-year-olds, and then Martha Stewart walks in, I guarantee Martha Stewart, even looking good at 82 years old, is not going to be the best-looking person in the room.
Yeah, but...
No, so that's why the caveat is attached to it. I disagree. There's a caveat. I think we explained it, and I think this human's wrong, and fuck them for their sensitivities.
That's right.
Fair.
Yeah. Lastly, it's the dog peanut butter. We talked about this last week. Mike W. writes, "LOL, we have a dog peanut butter jar that I use to give the dog medicine. I double dip the spoon after the first dog licks it. Try not to mix up the peanut butter and the, quote, dog peanut butter." I think he means like putting it on your testicles and letting the dog lick it off.
Well, I think he also means like your dog peanut butter is apparently like scientific in some capacity, according to Sarah. It's like, no, this has been genetically engineered only for dogs. It's got additives that only dogs can have. And
right.
Yeah, he's just saying like, no, I just like the dog licks this and I don't want to eat it. So we just separate the two. Where yours is like, this is built for dogs.
Do you understand that dogs' mouths? That's like people say like dogs' mouths are cleaner than humans' mouths. Like, yeah, they also lick their own dicks and assholes. They also do that.
And bottom line is, they're not cleaner. They're actually filthier than your mouth. It's
Yeah,
just
they're
they have different enzymes, so they can withstand the filthiness.
Kind of got like
So
a
when they
Komodo
lick your
dragon
mouth-
thing going on, right?
Look.
Yes.
Fucking case in point is they put fucking cones on dogs for a reason, and it's so that they don't fucking lick themselves because they're dirty as fuck. Like
Great
if I get
point.
a paper cut, and I'm like, ooh, paper cut. I don't then die.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't then fucking get an infection and fucking spiral into death. They do if they lick their own wounds.
Gotcha.
So there you go.
You mean, like, okay, hold on. Okay, say you have, quote unquote, like a wrist surgery where you have an open wound. If you sat there and licked it yourself for a while, it might not get infected?
I mean, so
I would be more concerned with my tongue and mouth than I would the actual wound, but
we also got to be a little bit like reasonable here. Like if it's a giant gaping wound, you probably shouldn't be licking it. First of all, and two, fucking, there's
I meant
a
a
lot
stitch wound.
more likelihood that the giant gaping wound is going to get infected than like the paper cut.
gotcha.
Yeah,
I was talking about like something that was like stitched.
Yeah,
I-
I mean, even still, I'd stick away from it. Like,
Okay, but I'm still concerned about your compulsion to lick
yeah,
it.
why would you lick that?
Yeah.
I'm,
Like, I
I'm
get
not
what you're
I
saying.
would, but a dog would. You had to put a cone around a dog's mouth.
Yeah, I know, but
do that.
you then turned it into like, okay, well, let's say you're a human and you've got
Right,
this
but you don't
wound.
have to put it. Okay, a human understands I shouldn't do that, but
Right.
on the weird occasion, say that like you would be like, wow, I wonder what if I put my tongue on that 600 times, would that get infected?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It might.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say yes, but I'm just saying because you're a human and you have a human brain, and you're like, if I lick this, it'll get infected. You're just not gonna lick it. One, I don't know why you lick it. I mean, I get why a dog licks it because they're like, what's this weird thing that's going on with my body? I'm gonna test it out, and I don't have hands. And
Yeah.
I don't understand medicine or the world except for bones and fucking chasing squirrels. Like,
I was gonna say, I think that's the big thing. Is like I don't have hands.
Maybe
Dog's
maybe
just like, what am I supposed to do with it? Like,
maybe that's what they need to do with the lions. Fucking snip the old stepchildren. Put some cones on those bastards.
dude, my neighbor had a dog, and they neutered it too soon. I mean, like, I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, but like, you want to talk about a genderless dog? That's what this was. It was neither male nor female. It was a weird dog.
You're supposed to wait a certain time, a certain period of time along in their maturity, because they're almost when you do that, they won't mature anymore. So you want to wait as long as you possibly can.
You basically
If
want to
you do
wait
it
till
too
they're ready to fucking like dry hump like the stairwell, you know? Like that's when
Yeah.
you do it.
Yeah.
They did this like when this thing was still technically a puppy, and I'm just like, what? It was the most androgynous dog. It was Pat. It was the Pat of dogs.
Oh, I sat on my nuts. Now what am I gonna eat? Ugh.
And his name was MacGyver, which made it worse because it's like that's the coolest name for a dog, and he's such a pussy.
Yowzers. All right. We'll see y'all next week on another exciting episode of the Middle Classics.